Please work, please work, please work, please work. Yay! All right. And go live. I think we're live. I think we are. We're here. Awesome. Okay, so we are live. Here, we're going to have a CBA alumni panel here to answer your questions about Crochetpreneur Business Academy, growing a crochet business, ups and downs, struggles, successes, whatever questions you have, we're going to answer them because we're brave like that. And yeah, we're going to kind of wing it. If you don't know who I am, my name is Pam Grice, Crochetpreneur. I am the host of this Facebook group, Crochet Business Chat, and the Crochet Business Chat podcast, and the Crochetpreneur Business Academy. And my job is to coach business owners, crochet business owners specifically, to grow strategic, profitable businesses that feel good to them. And okay, they don't always feel good, but the goal is to make them feel good most of the time. So we're just going to be honest and we're going to wing it today. So I do have a couple of questions that we're going to ask. I need to check and be sure everyone is good. All right, Helen might be a little bit late, but she will be here. And all right, I'm going to bring on some of our ladies and we are going to chat. So thank you everyone for being here. And if you're here live, be sure to ask questions. Be sure to let us know that you're here and a little bit about your business if you want to share about your business. And if you're watching on replay, do the same and we'll come back and say hello. So we are streaming on both Facebook and on YouTube. So we might have questions in both places. And I am going to check to be sure that you can see me. What I was looking at on the Facebook page was the other day's live stream. So I'm checking, and if you ladies who are in my backstage, oh no, someone's watching. So let me watch yesterday's masterclass. That is an old live stream. I'm going to come over to this Facebook group and do some checking because nothing is worse than not really streaming. So I don't see it on Facebook. But Facebook says that we're doing it. You are live now. Crochet Business Chat, Facebook group. Would you, one of you ladies, go look at your Facebook and see if you can see the live stream from today, not the one from yesterday or from the other day? Oh, Christine says she sees us live. Is Christine here? No. Okay, I need to send Christine this link. All right. Thanks for your patience, everyone. Technology is the bane of my existence. All right, I'm going to bring our ladies on so that we can chat. So you all say, yes, it's working. You can see it. Okay. So I am going to add our friends to the stage. I have with us right now Lisa and Katie, and Helen and Christine will be joining us shortly. So thank you both for being here. Thank you all for being here. I am checking the comments, and yes, they can see us on Facebook. Okay. Thanks for your patience, everyone. If you're watching on replay, I'm sorry that you had to just watch all that nonsense. But that's the way things work around here. All right, Christine is here. Hello, hello. Good to see you. And Helen, are you ready to come on? All right. Helen's here as well. So here we all are. Yeah. So basically, now I want you guys to do most of the talking. So I'm going to ask you questions that I have for you here. We do have a question submission form, and people had sent in some questions, and I just lost them. Okay. So the first question is, when you where were you in your business before joining CBA, and what made you decide to join? Like, were you a new business owner? Were you existing business owner? What was going on with you? Anybody want to start?
I'll go first.
All right.
I started my business in 2007, and somewhere.
Should I go?
You're okay. Go ahead.
Somewhere around, I don't remember what year I joined CBA. I don't know if you know. Maybe 2017. So probably 2016. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I think we're having a lag. We opened the doors in 2019. So you would have been in our first group that joined in 2019.
So probably somewhere around 2017 or 2018, I was ready to give up on my business. I had little kids, and I had found another group, creative group, not a crochet business group, but a creative business group. And I said, all right, I'm going to give my business, I'm going to work on my business for 6 months in this group. And it's either going to succeed or I'm going to close my doors. And I worked on my business for 6 months, and I doubled my income, which it wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot of income, but I doubled it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try this. And then she closed her doors, and you just happened to show up right afterwards. So I was like, all right, this is what I need. And I can look up exact dollar figures, but since then I'm not 10 times my business, but I'm probably 7 or 8 times what I was making back then. And it's only been, maybe 6 years. Awesome. So yeah, I think support is good.
I remember, there was a couple years there for you that it was like, oh my gosh, I already doubled my income. Oh my gosh, I already doubled my income from last year.
Like by July or September, I would have doubled my income. Yeah. So.
Yeah. That's amazing times.
And my first year, just to put it in perspective, my first year in CBA, I for those that don't know, I tend to set kind of stupid, lofty goals that might not be there. Sometimes they seem a little ridiculous when I look at them, but if I just set a normal goal, I don't tend to strive very hard for it. Whereas if I set a really big goal and I fail, it's okay, because at least it motivates me. My first year, my only goal, or one of my goals, was to make a pattern sale every day on Etsy for 365 days. So that was my goal, and it wasn't that long ago. And now, I'm in a completely different place goal-wise. So it just goes to show you that, when you have that kind of dynamic, you can move forward,
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. So any others of you, where were you at in your business when you joined? All of you were existing business owners when you joined, right? Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I'd been doing it for a couple of years, I guess. Well, I started mine in 2012. So yes, I've been doing it for a while. And I'd had some like Etsy specific coaching that I'd been doing. And so I knew like Christine, like that coaching and like working with people that were in the same scenario was like really helpful. Instead of feeling like you against the world, it's like there's all these other people that I can talk to and get ideas from, and just like emotional support and all of that stuff. Business very like hobbyist business. I didn't really know what I was doing, and so when I found out about CBA, it was like, okay, this is like, this is what I'm doing. Like, wow, it's not just me and all these other Etsy people doing like all kinds of different things. So, and what I really liked was that, Pam helps you figure out like how to make your business like legitimate, all those little things that like, if you just decided to start an Etsy shop because people are like, oh, look at the cool stuff you make, you don't realize all the things that you need to do to actually have a legitimate business. So that was, for me, that was like a huge thing to help me fill in all those missing pieces that I did not even know existed before. So I had to kind of go back to the beginning on some of that stuff, but it was so nice to have a guide.
That's what happens though, right? Is sometimes you have to go back to the beginning, puppies. You have to go back to the beginning and figure out like what pieces did I miss. I think we've all been there of like, I just started my business, and then you're like, oh, okay. Now I have to like go back and like really start a business because I just did it impulsively. A lot of creatives just start selling impulsively and then don't have all those foundational bits in place. So excuse me while my dog coughs up something.
Mine just wandered off, so I'm like, uh-oh. Probably should have pinned him in.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's back. Stay here, dude.
Oh, we lost. Here comes Helen. We lost Christine. Things are happening all over the place. I do have another question here. The question is, when can I make $300?
Right now. Right now.
Yeah, the thing with, okay, you guys talk first. Sorry, I almost went into coaching mode.
No, coaching mode is why people, that's what makes this group amazing. We have a coach that guides us and sometimes tells us the things we didn't want to hear but really needed to.
See, for me, the answer to that question would be, how are you going to make $300? Not when are you going to make $300?
Yeah.
Yeah, the first question you have to ask is, what resources do I have? Do I have a bunch of inventory that I can go sell? Do I want to create a pattern that I'm going to launch? So, we talk about, yes, you need to build foundations, but also we talk about your job now as a business owner is to make money out of thin air. Mm-hmm. And so being creative about how am I going to make that happen? Oh, great. I have a new doctor's bill that I didn't expect to pay. So how am I going to make money out of thin air to get that paid for? Okay, I'm going to bundle some stuff that I already have and make a new offer and, make my money that way. So it really depends on what resources you already have and how creative you want to be. And also what your existing audience looks like. If you have an existing audience of people who are following you and are on your email list, that makes the process so much easier. If you're a brand new business owner and you don't have audience and you don't have resources, it's going to take a little bit of time. So can't answer that specific dollar question, but you can start implementing strategies to get you there today. So that's the magic of owning your own business. So cool. All right, another question. How much time did you need to dedicate each week to really benefit from the program? So it's going to be hard to quantify, but if you take a guess, how much do you feel, how much time in the program do you think that you spent while implementing?
I can start out. When I very first got started, I printed everything out. It was 2019. I printed out the whole workbook, and especially the foundational stuff, the very chapter 1 foundation, like who are you, what are your values, creating a value statement for your company or for your business. And I printed it out, I put it in a 3-ring binder, and I took it with me to sit in work on while I waited for my kids to get out of school in the drive line. And so like I would be parked in line waiting for my kids to get out, and I'd sit there and be filling stuff out. And so I got my, if you've ever done drive line, it's like an hour a day. So I got in a pretty good amount there, getting going. And it sucks you in. It snowballs very quickly. You're like, you may spend 5 hours on it the first week, but then something clicks and you spend 5 hours on it the next day because you're just like, oh my gosh, like that makes so much sense. And so it kind of depends on what clicks at the moment and where you're at in the process. The nice part is having steps, having it be like, do this, then do this, then do this, because that's a big part of this is you don't know whether do I start my email list? Do I open my Etsy shop? Do I do this? Like, what do I do in what order and how, like, what's important and what isn't? And it's super easy to get stuck spending like a ton of time designing your logo when what you really need to be doing is over here. Like, actually you need to do this stuff over here. So you need customers, or you need to know who they are before you, dump a bunch of time into a logo that's not going to appeal to those people. So it can take as much time as you want it to. But you can also move through it at a pace that makes sense. So
yeah, some people would get through, the first 3 phases, their first month, and then other people would take an entire year. And it really depends on your own motivation, your own desire to implement things, and then your own, what's the word? Like how much bandwidth you have. Some people are raising kids and taking care of family and working a full-time job, and those people are going to just, it all is all self-paced, so you can fit it in where you need to.
I think for me, I went back. Now I already had my business for years, but I started as a hobby business, like you said. And so there were so many things that I didn't do as a business owner, or do like I was a business owner. I did them so when I joined CBA, I went back like I was starting a new business. So I started from the beginning. I didn't just pick and choose what I wanted. And I just kind of, the stuff that I had done well, or I didn't need to fix, I still went through it to make sure I was on track, but I got through it faster, and I did it during kids' nap times, or, like Katie said, or maybe it snowballed a little bit. And the next day I was like, watch TV so I can work on this. But yeah, so if you already own a business and you're trying to fix it or grow it, some of the things you may be able to work faster through than others. And then, you spend extra time on the things that you need to fix or tweak or whatever.
Yeah.
But the great thing about CBA and the modules is that you can take them at your own pace, just as long as you keep plodding through them. Building a business is a bit like building a house. If you don't get the foundations right, the house ain't going to stay there.
Yep, that's how I like to look at it too. Of like, I know, like in the beginning, we do a lot of mindset work, and we do a lot of like, tell me your story. What are your weaknesses and what are your strengths? And people are like, what? That doesn't even matter. Like, I'm trying to build a business. I need to know what products to sell. And those bits of building a business that fits for you is so foundational, because you don't want to build a business that you hate. And people do it all the time. They build a business and they get, 3, 4, 20 years in, and they're like, I hate this. It's not fun. It's stressing me out. It's like, I made a bunch of decisions that I should do rather than what actually works for me or my family or my goals. So getting those pieces in place first is going to save so much heartache.
Mm-hmm.
I think this industry is big for that too, in terms of burnout. Like, you see a lot of new crochet business owners just be like, I will make whatever's popular. Like, I will make whatever anybody wants me to make. And so, like, I can remember at the very beginning of my business, back when I was doing like craft fairs, I made some lady a set of those little feet for dining room chairs, and I made it for all like 16 of her dining room chairs. It was like so many little feet, and it was exhausting, and it was horrible. And like by the end of it, I hated it, and I was like, why did I choose this business? This is awful. And so sometimes it's like narrowing down your focus to what you enjoy doing, and then narrowing down the people that want what you enjoy. It's so important, and it's such a vital part of it that, you know, otherwise you end up making dining room chair feet for like 6 months.
Well, and the same thing, Katie, I had years ago, when the animal hats first came out, like 10 years ago, people would be like, I love you as a designer. Can you make a cow, or can you make an owl? And I listened to them because I thought they were my people. And then, you know, I'd get, you should do shawls. And then I'd make a shawl and it wouldn't sell. And finally I went and I took 1 year and I did a ton of research on search engine. Like, how were people finding me? What was the result? And it always 100% of the time went back to blankets. So I was like, I don't know why I'm doing the rest of this stuff. You know, same thing.
Because your audience tells you what they want, whether they a lot of times they'll tell you what they want and then they won't buy that, right? Like what happened.
That's what happened. Yeah.
But they show you with their action and what they're searching for and what they're spending money on. Yeah. And so your job as a business owner is to analyze that data and say, what do people actually, why are they coming to me?
Yeah.
And that's,
they can say they want a shawl, but then I make it, they don't buy it, but they buy the blanket that looks just like the shawl.
Yep. So yeah, it's so good that you found that out so that you can niche down and be like, okay, fine. This is what you want to spend money on with me. This is what our connection is. So I'll just give you more of that. Give you more of that. So awesome. Helen, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, but it's also important when you do go through that process, because every designer, and probably, I mean, I've never been a product maker, but probably every product maker's done the same thing, and assumed or thought that this would sell really well, and it really hasn't. But take it as a success that you've learned that lesson, and not as a failure that you spent the time doing it and it didn't come to naught. Somewhere along the line, if you designed that pattern, somebody's going to buy it if it's in your shops. It might take 6 months, it might take 6 years. I mean, there's some patterns on my Etsy shop that have never sold on Etsy at all. But other patterns just fly out. Like my biggest selling pattern on Etsy, oh my God, people, I don't like it. And I've asked members of Mastermind before, why does this pattern sell? What is so special about this pattern that I've just had to put more inventory in my Etsy shop because the 999 have gone? It's like I've got way more prettier patterns and nicer things out there. What is it about this one that sells? And yeah.
It's so funny because a lot of times we learn that we are not our ideal customer. And so learning to think like your ideal customer and give them what they want rather than like, I wouldn't buy that. I mean, there are things that I used to make and sell that I was like, I would not buy that. And I definitely wouldn't pay, $80 for that hat and scarf set. But my customers were eating it up. So we are not our ideal customers. And so thinking from their perspective rather than our own perspective is going to be really helpful in creating products that they want to buy. So make more of those things that you don't like. And then
but it's also okay as well for your ideal customer to change. I think a lot of us, when we first sit down to do that model, we end up thinking of ourselves as our ideal customers because that's the person we know what we like, we know what our friends like in our immediate friend circle and that sort of thing. But it's okay to then go back and reassess that. That person doesn't have to stay the same all the time.
Exactly right. I think year after year, your audience will change because they grow with you as well. And so sometimes when you start enjoying something or sharing a stitch that you learned, all of a sudden they're like, oh, yeah, I like that too. And then they want more of that. So you're growing together, as with any sort of relationship that you have. Your customers are, connected to you, and you're all growing together. So it's really fun. But yeah, I think reevaluating that year after year is important for sure. All right. Let's see. How quickly did you start seeing changes in your business after joining?
I'll go. I had really plateaued before I found CBA. I felt very stagnant. It was one of those, like, I made the same $1,500 every year, and I was like, this has got to change. Like, I got to make more than $1,500. Like, this is not cutting it. And the first year when I, even just niching down my audience and then being like, I'm speaking to my audience. I mean, that was massive. That was a huge change. 10 times probably my income the first year. And then it's just kind of steadily increased. So it's kind of one of those amazing, like, aha moments that really makes you realize I have a business, like a real one. I'm not just selling a few things here and there to make a little extra money. I didn't just print off my banners on Vistaprint and have a table at the local, church fair. I'm a real business. And so that was a really huge deal. That was a big change. And so that, I think the mental change was the biggest hurdle that pushed me past it. So it's funny we keep talking about things changing. I'm like, I used to go back every year, and I was so dedicated and so good about going back and doing chapter 1 every year. And now that we have CBA 2.0, I'm going to do it again. Because I'm like, I got to do that. Like, I need to do it. Like, we sit here and talk about it.
Well, because now you can fix all the things again, like, because you're a different person. Your business is different.
Yeah,
but a lot of times
my message should be doing, but it's not.
Yeah, a lot of times we make decisions throughout the year as well that all of a sudden, and I'm not saying you did this, I'm just saying I've done this, that we break things all over again. And so going back and again, okay, because we fall into our old habits, whether it's people pleasing or shoulding all over ourselves or saying yes to things that we shouldn't be saying yes to. Helen, all of those.
I feel very seen right now.
You feel singled out, Helen.
All of those things happen throughout the year. And so coming back and saying, all right, I'm going to start fresh, take a look at everything and work through it again. And now it's so much easier because we've pared things down. I created all of those AI bots to help you just get through the thing rather than having to, like, rack your brain to get an answer.
So I have a
brain dump. Go ahead.
I have a different answer to your question than Katie did.
Go ahead. Good.
So I didn't see any growth in my business for probably 3 or 4 months. Do you want to know why? Because I didn't do it. I bought CBA, and then I thought it was going to magically fix my business, even though I wasn't working through the modules. And I just kind of scanned them, and I might have watched one, but I watched it. I didn't apply it. And it wasn't until I was like, okay, this isn't going to fix my business unless I work it. And then once I decided to go back and start from the beginning and actually take it seriously and not just like, I'm one of those people that loves to buy courses, but then I just watch them, but I don't apply them and I don't do anything. Once I started to make the fixes, I don't know exactly what it was because it was so long ago, but I'm going to say probably within 30 or 60 days, I was like, oh, wait, this is better. This is different. This is better, So even if you don't see the changes right away, if you create new habits, I think, what do they say? What you're doing now, you'll see the benefits of in 2 months or something like that. So, it might take a couple months, but when you get there, don't think you can back off because now what you're doing now, you'll see in another 2 months, So.
But
But yeah, I
equally,
had to actually work the course to see the benefits. Just
I do think it's important.
for anybody that thought it was osmosis, it's not.
I do think it's important, though, every now and then, just to stand and take a breath and look at where you are and how your business is running, and just to see whether you feel comfortable with that. Because I think we all know now that I made the mistake of, I joined CBA pretty much from the off, like within weeks of joining Sunflower. And I just went 100 miles an hour all the way through, and I never took the time to stand still and kind of look at what was building and where it was going. It was always, come on, let's get there, let's get there. I was just a train heading for the station, and then it would be like, okay, passengers on, let's go again. But you do need to take that moment just to reflect on what you've done, how it worked for you, whether it's the direction you want to go in, so you can still change and pivot with where you want your business to go. Because if you don't, it exhausts you.
Right. Yep. Yeah, getting to that place of like, does this feel good? Like how I started doing this thing. Is this feeling good to me? Or is this like stressing me out to the point where it's just not worth it? Or is it just doesn't feel good, or it doesn't feel authentic to me, or any of that kind of stuff? You need to look at that and adjust so that your business feels good to you. Otherwise, you're going to burn out, and we don't want that. We don't want anybody getting to that place. So, all right. So this kind of ties in with what Christine was saying of, I'm worried I'm going to buy this course and not follow through. Did you ever feel that way, and how did you push past it?
So I'm going to say, if you have little kids, or you have a full-time job, or you have like a life, not that some people don't have a life, I don't mean like that, but if you have a crazy life, I would recommend committing a certain block of time, lunchtime every day, 12 to 1, or when the kids are napping from 2 to 3, or every Friday afternoon because I get out of work early or whatever, and just committing to that amount of time. And because I think if you go full bore, you're going to burn out. Whereas if you have a consistent time slot where you just make it a habit, you're more likely to follow through with it. That's,
Yeah, I agree. Building that habit and like just making a commitment to yourself. And part of this process is that like keeping promises to yourself, because when you decide to start a business, you're making a promise to your future self that you're going to create that future for them. Like, I have a dream of what my life is going to look like, and it's up to me to make that happen. And if I don't, now I'm letting myself down. So we're trying to align who you are today with who you want to be in the future, and have you commit to actually creating that for yourself / future self. And so if you're one of those people who, like Christine, like me, like a lot of people who buys courses because you are a lover of information and you love to learn things, but you don't necessarily like to implement them, then set a goal for yourself of building that habit and choosing, I'm putting it on my calendar, I'm doing it because I promised myself. And do that for 75 days so you build the habit, and then it just becomes natural. But it does take a long time for those habits to kick in and stay. So make yourself a habit chart where you can give yourself points every day, or you can give yourself a star every day, or give yourself mini goals that, when you do 10 days in a row, 10 business days in a row, then I get to go out for coffee with my best friend, or get some new yarn, something like that, where you're reinforcing that positive behavior. I think that is helpful.
Can I say something?
For me,
I'll be quiet.
No. Oh, were you both talking?
Go ahead.
No,
Yes.
I think that the best thing I did was buy CBA, because when I pay money for something, I'm going to get my money's worth out of it. Like, And so that was a big mindset thing for me. I did Elite Blog Academy before that, which is actually how I found you, because you won an award or something through that. And I was like, there's a crochet coach, like a crochet business coach that's in this program. And so it was like I had paid for that. And so I was like, and I'm going to pay for this, because if I pay for them, I put the work in. And so if you stop and think about it that way, then you want to put your work in. It's like paying for college, you know, when you're like, I'm not going to fail this class because I paid X amount of dollars for it. Like, you put the effort in. So that was my, like, well, I'm not going to let myself down because I'm not going to just throw this money away. You know, like, I'm not going to do that. So especially when you're trying to build a business and you're trying to make money, the last thing you want to do is feel like you're not utilizing your business expenses.
Yeah. Awesome. Lisa, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, for me, I had to make the conscious choice to prioritize it, because like I operate a lot like Helen, where I'm like, I am just charging forward and I am doing things, and like stepping back and looking at the big picture is like, it's like an inconvenience. I don't want to bother with that, even though it's super important. So like I said it was like on my to-do list, like Christine, I set aside certain time blocks. I did join not that long before COVID hit. So my situation was different because I actually had free time. You know, I wasn't the only full-time parent for the first time in my life. So that was, that was different, but I still had to like make choice to actually like sit down and do the work, because I wanted to just charge in and already. And so like setting reminders and just really like deciding it was a priority, like that was kind of pivotal for me. Like I had to make that choice. So for anybody who kind of operates like that, like choose progress, that's what worked for me.
Yeah.
Even though that's not very concrete.
No, I mean, choose yourself. Honor yourself. Keep your commitments to yourself. It's a big deal because a lot of times in our culture, women are celebrated for sacrificing what's good for them, for the good of the people around them. And so when we make a promise to ourselves, we're the first person that we betray, right? Like if it's a choice between me focusing on my business and me saying no to a friend, I'm gonna say yes to my friend and I'm gonna say no to my business because that's the nice thing to do, or whatever, like we have set up those kind of rules in our society. And so breaking that, making people upset that you're being selfish and focusing on your own business, for some people that's a part of the process, is saying like, no, this is my time to work, setting those boundaries around your work and saying, I know, like for those of you who have kids, of saying like, I'm working right now. These are the rules in our house. Mom's working. And, you can come in if, someone's hurt. But other than that, pretend mommy's at work.
Well, and even friends and family, I had to stop answering my phone or answer my text messages because people were like, well, you're home. Yeah, but I'm trying to work. Yeah, but you work from home. But it's still a distraction, So I stopped answering my phone during the day for certain people that couldn't comprehend that. So.
Yep. Setting those boundaries. Made by Nessie asked, any advice for people who are coming back to their business, how to pace yourself? So it's a little bit about what we've shared here. Finding time in the margins of life, and then also carving out particular time when you are going to focus on growing your business. All of that's really helpful. If you need a tool, Christine can link her planner. Do you have a link to your planner? You can link your planner here if you want to use a planner specifically made for people with busy lives.
Yes.
All right. We can link that here. Or if you want to use like Trello or Asana or ClickUp or Notion or Monday, there's a lot of online options for managing your life. I am I have to see it in order to remember that I have to do it kind of person. So I use Asana for that. I know Lisa uses Trello for that. and Christine uses paper for that. So whatever works for you, finding that tool that will help you manage your time and remember what tasks you need to complete each day is going to be super, super helpful. So that's how I manage my time in my business. All right. What parts of CBA, knowing that you guys were in CBA 1.0 and 2.0 just came out, so there's new stuff added, but what parts of CBA were most valuable for you? Was it the lessons, the community, the coaching, or something else?
For me, it's always been the community and the people and the friends that you make along the way, because being your own boss, especially in this type of industry, can be so isolating and lonely, and there's so much computer work to do. I know certainly from a designer point of view, I think a producer point of view, where you're going out to fairs and you're getting to meet people, might be a little bit different, but from a designer point of view, I found that it could be really isolating, which wasn't necessarily good for the mental health. But having that community there, that like these ladies here have seen me celebrate the good, and they've seen me sob my heart out through the bad, and they've been there to brainstorm with me. Any problems that I've had, that, you know, walls that I felt like I couldn't climb over, you ladies have absolutely helped me brainstorm and get over those hurdles and just try and be the best that I can be. Is have supported me to do that, and I'm forever grateful for that.
Well, we're so happy to have you as part of our community, because we have loved working with you as well. I'll speak from a coaching perspective, but yeah, I agree. You guys can speak to that community piece, and then I want to ask you a follow-up on that. But if you guys want to speak anything else that you felt was most valuable as you're growing your business.
Yeah, the lessons were great because it kind of helps you realize you're on the right track, or you need to adjust your track, but I think the community, I'm gonna agree with Helen. I mean, this community, when you find your people, you make connections. Like, there are tons of people in CBA that I have met that, you know, I have networked with, whatever. But then there are people that have gotten me through some of my stuff in personal life as well, that I needed those people to be like, okay, you know, when, just as an example, when Danny was diagnosed with cancer, I stopped blogging for an entire year. I stopped everything. And I needed that kind of support to be like, take the time, work on your business when you can, make your priorities, you know? And so I think when you have a good network of people, like a closer knit circle, when you meet people that understand your industry, understand what you're doing, but also know you personally, I think they can help you through the personal part of your life, knowing your business part of your life. Because, you know, I have a great network of people in my life, but they don't understand my business. And so they don't understand I have to try and mentally get through this tech edit, even though my life is falling apart, you know, like, and I don't think people that aren't in the industry understand that. I don't. And so for me, it's those connections that can help you through the business part when other people don't understand it. You know, if that makes sense.
So my follow-up question is, for those people who are like worried about engaging in the community, what strategies can they use to actually connect with people? Like I can suggest some, but I don't know if you guys can suggest like what your strategy, if you were coming in now, not knowing anybody, how would you make those sorts of connections? And how can we actually, while we're talking, how can we maybe make that easier for people?
I think showing up for the social things like the sip and stitches is when you can really get to connect with people. Anything where, I mean, like talking in the group is, definitely a way to do that. But getting that face-to-face time that's where like I've made friends with like people that I talk to, almost every day that I met through CBA. Like we're seeing people that, it's just, you can show up to the sip and stitch. You don't even necessarily have to talk, but just, get there, take that first step of, showing up and getting comfortable. And
those sip and stitches are, so we have three a month, all different times. Lisa hosts one of them, and they're so low pressure. Like you just show up and you can listen to other people having a conversation, or you can talk yourself, but it's not recorded, so you don't have to worry about people seeing it down the road. You can ask questions, you can be silly, you can share your struggles, and just get to know people and make friends. And you can even then make like coffee chat dates with people that you can connect with them later on your own account and in your off time. So I agree. I think the sip and stitches are helpful for that. Lisa and I are working on figuring out the best way to offer some co-working sessions. We don't have it set up, but we do want to have co-working sessions available for people as well. They're not quite so engaging, but it is a way to still be with people.
I was going to answer that, but I knew you didn't have them anymore. But now that you're saying that, I'm going to respond with what my initial thought was. Helen and Lisa and I were on the original, when you did co-working sessions back when you started this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how we got so close. Like, because you know what, we would sometimes just spend an hour talking about business or, brainstorming or things like that. Not really co-working like we should have been, but it helps you connect with people on a different level, and now I talk to Helen, I want to say almost every day, but I've been a little MIA.
She's avoiding me at the moment.
Avoidance is always going to give you information, but I know that there's somebody around recently.
What?
I don't know. I saw pictures on Facebook.
Helen still loves me, I think.
Always, sweetheart.
But again, I wouldn't know these wonderful people if it weren't for CBA. And some of the people that I connect with the most in this world right now are through CBA. And I think there's something to be said for that when you make that initial connection and then you can build a relationship around it. And, Helen, just to kind of go off of that, Helen came here and stayed with me. Helen lives in the UK. I live in Connecticut. She came here and stayed with me. And I never would have met her if it weren't through CBA. And now, our kids are friends. And it's just such a good feeling to know that you connect with something so simple like crochet, and you can build relationships beyond just networking or working or whatever, So yeah. I would say get on those sip and stitch, or if you start co-working again, and because you don't know, but if you'll meet somebody, but it could be, you could end up meeting your best friend or, so.
Mm-hmm. And if you can't make the sip and stitches, so for instance, being in the UK, mm-hmm. often the sip and stitches are on when I'm well past bedtime for me. But just go into the group and say, hey, I'm in this time zone. I'm looking for somebody who's willing to be whatever you need, whether it's an accountability person, whether you want somebody to do some co-working, whether you want somebody to brainstorm, whatever it happens to be, just go into the group and ask for that. And most of the time somebody will respond and say, hey, I'm here. I was thinking about the same thing, but I'm too scared to go and ask for it.
Yeah, that's good advice too. Thank you. Lisa, it's making me think we got to figure out a plan. It would be so great if we could have people could get into a Zoom call and then choose a room. I want to chat with people or I want to co-work. And just go to where they need to be at the moment. Or maybe
just label one extroverts meet here and introverts meet here.
Work silently together here. That's actually a really good idea, Katie.
Yeah, we need to find some sort of resource that has something like that available. Or maybe we create two separate links where it's like, you know, I need to talk. I need quiet time, but I want to do it with people. You know, co-working is so powerful, even if you're not chatting. But yeah, I think having a time when people could just be like, who wants to meet me in the chat room? And let's just go talk, because I got to talk through this thing now with somebody. We're going to build that. So yay. That's coming.
I think our initial co-working, I think we started and ended with like a 5 or 10 minute chat session, and then we co-worked, and I think that's how it turned into the just chatting the whole thing. I think that's kind of like a nice way to, you know, get it started where, you know,
because I think what we would do, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Lisa. But I think what we would do is we would have like 5 minutes where we would each say what we were going to work on, and then an hour and a half later we would, okay, this is what we got done, and if they had to leave, and then we'd maybe do another one if people wanted to stay on or whatever. So that way it's a co-working session, but almost like an accountability group, you know?
Yes.
Which,
yeah, it turned into, didn't it? Oh, Lisa, you were working on this. How's it going? Or I'm thinking about doing something this similar. Is there any lessons you can share with me?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. I have a coaching call in 10 minutes, so I think we are going to wrap up here. I want to make sure I don't have any more questions on the form. I don't. So that's all good. And thank you, ladies, for being here. For those of you who are watching, if you decide that you would like to join us inside CBA and you want to join today, there are links in the description of this video for each of these ladies. It's their affiliate links. If there was somebody's message that resonated with you, or if you're like, oh, I know that person, I follow them, or I know their designs, click on their link and join. That way they get an affiliate commission. Part of what I love to do is have that money, like what money I'm making, trickle down, whether it's to my team or to my affiliates or something like that, because I think that is, it makes it fun for me, because my whole goal is to help people have financial freedom. And so when money can come through me and flow to other people, that makes me happy. So click their affiliate links, join CBA, and I hope to see you on the inside. Thanks for being here. Ask questions if you're watching the replay. Ladies, you're great, and I will be chatting with you soon. And for those of you who have further questions, or you want to ask one-on-one questions, we do have a time tomorrow evening. I will link in the description. We're going to have a call-in show where each of our alumni will have their own room, and you can call in and talk to them one-on-one. So if you need more one-on-one question answered from our folks and not have that be recorded or on screen or anything, join us tomorrow. I will be sending a link to my email list. Look at the beautiful Scottish countryside. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great day and go make money. Bye.